Right. Well, thank you, Pete. Thank you all for being here this morning. It is a pleasure to be with you all. My name is Felipe Mion, and I am with OpenAI. I lead our government go-to-market business here at OpenAI, here out of the DC area. And so the talk and demos I want to do today is around AI for government efficiency with ChatGPT from hype to reality. So with that, I actually want to start by going to a live check. All right. So we're going to ChatGPT. I'm going to do a voice mode here. So let's talk to Chat this morning. Hey, Chat, good morning. You there?
Good morning. I'm here. What's up?
Hey, we're doing a live demo at the Gov AI Summit right now in Crystal City, Virginia. And guess what? You're actually part of the demo, and you're on stage with me, and the audience can hear you. Can you say hi and introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, everyone. I'm ChatGPT. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. You're welcome. Hope you all enjoy the demo.
Hey, Chat, can you say that again? Introduce yourself one more time and say hi to the audience. Sorry, we're getting a little feedback in the room. I'll mute you as I talk.
Of course. Hello, everyone. I'm ChatGPT, your friendly AI companion. Great to be here at the Gov AI Summit.
Government. But what I would like you to do is actually talk about it with Gen Z slang. And I really, really want you to turn up the slang, like make it very obnoxious.
All right, fam, let's spill the tea on AI in government. So, basically, AI is like the GOAT for making government totes efficient. We're talking major glow-ups in how stuff gets done. AI helps the Gov be all bougie with data, making sure the decisions are on fleek. No cap, AI is the ultimate life hack for governments, keeping it 100 for all the peeps.
Thanks, Chat. I can feel my son cringing from here.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Any final sign-off for the audience here before we get started?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here at the Gov AI Summit. Enjoy the demo, everyone, and remember, the future is AI amazing.
All right. So with that, let's jump to a couple slides, but actually what I'm going to do most of the talk is actually jump back to the demos real quick. And so a little bit about who we are, OpenAI. I think most folks have probably heard of ChatGPT. But OpenAI, we're the organization that created it. We started off as an AI lab, so started almost 9 years ago, really as a research organization, building the large language models that we all know today, so GPT-4o, GPT-3, GPT-4, and now newer models like our O1 preview, which we'll see in a little bit today. On the right of the slide here, you see a bunch of the customers we work with. So everyone from Apple, they actually just started rolling out their new iOS Apple Intelligence beta. And so if you're on developer plan, you can actually start getting the ChatGPT integration right into your iPhone, starting as of last week for the developers, and that'll be coming later this year for all users of Apple. And then specifically for our ChatGPT Enterprise product, which is what I'm going to be using to demo today, we have organizations like PwC, Spotify, Morgan Stanley using our products. In the public sector, the work I lead, we work with organizations like USAID, Los Alamos National Labs, and many others. So where we're at with AI today. And so I think these are the three critical areas of where we're at. So first, with employees. So all of us as employees of an organization are expecting to use AI tools to support our work. So we've all had the experience of using ChatGPT or other consumer AI tools in the market today in a personal capacity, and we've realized we want to be able to use these tools with our data at work. Second, from a strategic point of view, we think that every organization will be AI by default in the future. I make the analogy to the mobile era. So if you remember back in 2007, 2008, when the iPhone was coming out, every company starting in Silicon Valley was a mobile company. We were a mobile this, a mobile that. But today, if you look at Uber, for example, they don't call themselves a mobile transportation company. They're just a transportation company. Of course, they're mobile. Airbnb, similar, et cetera. Spotify, of course, has a mobile app. So I think we're going to see a similar thing happen in AI, where all these organizations that are AI XYZ, we're just going to be that XYZ thing. And of course, they're using AI in the future. And the last pillar is we do firmly believe that model intelligence will change everything. We'll see a little bit of our O1 preview model a little bit later today, and that will show you the path we think we're going on by improving model intelligence. Obviously, we're all here at an AI conference, and so AI does continue to be a top priority for organizations. But however, we're seeing only 30% of organizations have a true AI strategy in place. And so one of the ways we like to think about that of how to bring AI into your organization is in these three main pillars. So the first is building an AI-enabled workforce. And that gets to the employees. How do I bring these tools to my employees? Second is automating operations with AI. And then third is infusing AI into products. And so within our product line, we have ChatGPT and we have our API, and this is really how those map to those specific initiatives. So you can use ChatGPT to enable your workforce, and specifically ChatGPT Enterprise. You can use ChatGPT and custom GPTs to do AI operations, but you can also start building on things for developers via the API. One quick public sector story I wanted to share is the state of Minnesota. So the state of Minnesota we've been working with, and specifically they're using our ChatGPT team product, which is the self-service version, to do language translation. One of the amazing capabilities of these large language models is the ability to translate. And the state of Minnesota created an office about a year ago called the Enterprise Office of Translations, where they translate government documents. So everything from their DMV to the Health and Human Services, bring documents to the central organization that then translates those and then provides them back. And they're specifically focused on several languages that are very popular in Minnesota, but maybe not as popular in the rest of the world. So obviously languages like Spanish are there, but also Somali and Hmong are languages that they have a strong presence of in Minnesota. And using ChatGPT, they've actually been able to completely redesign their workflow where they get those documents, and the first thing they do is actually use ChatGPT to do the first pass of translation, still have a human review it for quality check, and then are able to give those back to the different departments that have requested it. With that, they've been able to move their lead time down from weeks to hours and actually save well over $100,000 a month in cost for their operations. And so specifically with our products, our team and enterprise, we have over 1 million enterprise customers using our ChatGPT enterprise and team products today. And then one final thing I wanted to address, because it comes up in most of the conversations I am in, is around data security. So specifically for our team and enterprise or API, so any of our business products, you own as a customer, own and control your data fully. OpenAI does not retrain on any of your customer data. It is your data. You decide who has access to things like SSO integration, role-based access control, and there's comprehensive security compliance, things like SOC 2, data encryption, HIPAA, there's private link as well for private connectivity. Since I am speaking to a government audience, we are actively working on FedRAMP. So we do not have our FedRAMP accreditation yet, but we are in process with USAID as our agency sponsor. But for those of you in government, we are able to work on individual government ATOs as well. So with that, let's get to the demos and the fun part. So I wanted to show 4 things that we're going to see today. The first is a little bit about doing research, and I framed these around kind of some of the categories, again, to the talks around how do we bring it from hype to reality? What can I actually do with this tool today? And so the first is research, topic I personally do a lot, then writing, data analysis, and then also a little preview of our reasoning capabilities. So with that, we're going to switch to the live demo. So we'll start with a pretty simple one. And apologize, I have one screen here, so we're going to jump around a little bit. So I'm going to ask the model to search the web for information on the Gov AI Summit and then write a haiku. So one of the things I wanted to specifically share is what ChatGPT is a full application, not just a wrapper on top of an AI model. I know many organizations are trying to build their own chatbots on top of an API. What we're doing with ChatGPT is we allow tool use as well. And so what I'm demoing right now is the ability to use one tool, which is browsing. So the model is actually searching the web. So we can see here, the model actually searched 4 sites based on this prompt. I can open this up and see the 4 sites. So it's used the Bing API to search Gov AI Summit 2024. Went to the Gov AI page, looked at all these, looked at the happening events page, and then from there gave me a quick summary about Gov AI taking place October 28th through the 30th in Arlington, Virginia, etc. And then here's a haiku inspired by the Gov AI Summit. AI leads the way, governance finds new paths clear, future shaped today. So not bad. So then, one of the things I mentioned a little bit about translation, so I'll show off, we can use the model to simply ask it to translate the first line of that haiku into Japanese, the second into Greek, and the third into Spanish. And so again, with that simple prompt, you can see now the model has gone ahead and translated to Japanese, Greek, and Spanish. What I'm going to next do is actually show you the ability to translate into even non-spoken languages. So I'm going to say, ask the model to translate the original haiku into Braille, the second line into Morse code, and the third into binary. And so again, once again, you can see that the model has gone ahead and written Braille, Morse code, and binary specifically for those. And finally, another tool that we've given the model the ability to do is to use another model we have, which is called DALL-E, which is our text-to-image model. So the prompt I will give here is create an impressionist painting that highlights a government AI conference. And so with that simple prompt, what the model is going to do in the background is going to call a different model, DALL-E, and going to create our impressionist painting of a government AI conference right here. One of the things I wanted to also showcase for those of you who maybe are used ChatGPT in the past, what this prompt I gave it, create an impressionist painting that highlights a government AI conference, is actually a very simple prompt and is not detailed enough. So one of the things we do in the background is actually take that simple prompt and then we run our model against that prompt to create a more detailed prompt we can use in the text to image generation. And so if you click the information button here, I can actually see the full prompt that ChatGPT created. So you can see impressionist painting at government AI conference, scene modern large conference hall, people in the business, etc. So you can actually see much more detail. One pro tip is if you're ever trying to use DALL-E to create something and are frustrated that it's creating different images every time, you can actually just copy this prompt and then just edit this prompt to exactly what you want. So with that, I'm going to switch to a different demo around how do we actually create and use it to draft and create to use it for AI. So actually, sorry, let me show a little bit more about research first. So one of the things that most of the audience might be familiar with is that the White House last week released a national security memorandum on the use of AI for the national security industry. So let's say I went to ChatGPT and said, I heard the White House released a national security memorandum on AI. Is that accurate? Can you summarize it for me? And so again, with that simple prompt, you see ChatGPT is going to browse the web and is now going to pull information on the national security memorandum focused on AI. And here are some highlights. Leadership in AI, safe and ethical use of AI, collaboration, innovation, AI safety and security, etc. So you can start seeing some research. I do get a lot of questions whenever I'm talking to customers about how can I trust this? What is the source of this information? And so one of the things I actually wanted to show off, and the reason I picked this specific example, is because normally it actually doesn't do exactly what I want it to do. I can see the 6 sites here, and I can open these up, and actually you can see, in this case, it actually pulled in the fact sheet from the White House Biden administration coordinated approach to AI, and then pulling in news articles from NextGov, Defense One, CRA.org, etc. And so it's actually summarizing all of those documents information. So sometimes this is what's referred to as retrieval augmented generation, or RAG approaches, which is where you're bringing additional data to the model. So instead of just asking the model's internal information, tell me about the national security memorandum, what I'm asking the model to do is use web browsing, go find information, and then bring that in. I'm doing this obviously with public data here off the web and using a browsing capability. You can also build this, and this is where there's much more complicated flows to do this using your internal data. So how can I search my internal repositories of data and bring that data very similarly to the model at the time of inference, at the time I'm working with it. So I wanted to ask another question specifically about the fact sheet here. So I'm going to give it now, in this case, the specific list of the fact sheet, and I say, here's the official White House fact sheet for the National Security Memorandum. Can you summarize any sections related to government adoption of AI? And so once again, it's going to search, in this case, just one site, because it's going to the specific site I gave it. And then it's going to tell me specifically about National Security Memorandum emphasizes U.S. government adoption for national security purposes while upholding democratic values and human rights. You can read a little bit more detail here. And it, again, provides me back the link here. So I'm going to go ahead and open that in a new tab. And again, if you have not seen it, this is from October 24th, the fact sheet on the Biden-Harris administration coordinated approach to harnessing the power of AI and national security. So again, here's the actual document. One of my favorite lines in here, which I will point out to, is right here. The National Security Memorandum does not simply demand that we use AI systems in the service of national security mission effectively. It also unequivocally states that we must do so in a way that aligns with democratic values. So this is a great point of view. Let's say, take the point of view of now being someone at an agency that actually wants to now draft a document based on this. So in this case, I'm going to show off something a little bit different, which is our new feature called Canvas. So we launched a feature about a month ago called Canvas, which is still in preview. So because it is still in preview or beta, we have to switch the model. This won't be the way forever, but if I click up here, GPT-4o, and down here, I'm going to click GPT-4o with Canvas, and I give the model a different prompt. Help me draft a short and direct email to my boss at a U.S. national security agency on why we should start a pilot program with leading generative AI tools. Reference this document. And so simply with that prompt, the model is going to do something different. You saw my screen just changed a little bit here. What we did with Canvas is rather than the model in line writing the next prompt as I suggested, predicting that next token, that next word, it actually created a separate canvas, a separate window where I can now edit the text live. And so here on the right side, I now have my draft email. Hi boss, wanted to start a pilot program using generative AI tools, enhancing nation capabilities, recent NSM, emphasizes the importance of AI adoption across government, etc. So with Canvas, one of the main things, I can live edit this. So I can say, start changing it directly, edit in here. I can also start using tools. So for example, I can just chat on the set. So I say include the link to the NSM. So I can just, again, use natural language to say, go ahead and include the link to the NSM. And the model will go ahead and rewrite to include, here's the link to the NSM now inside of it. What I can also do is add, so again, I can add sections. So let's go back to my fact sheet over here. And let's say I really like this sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I'm going to bring it back to ChatGPT. And I'm just going to go ahead and quote, add it right in here. But I'm not going to give it any comments, right? I didn't add any details of why this quote's important, etc. But one of the things I can do is on the bottom right of Canvas, there's this suggested edits button. And so I can go ahead and suggest edits. And now what the model is going to do is going to go back and read the document and comment on itself on ways I can improve this document. And the reason I added this quote is because I wanted to hopefully see if it gives me a comment on how it can improve kind of the flow of the document. So right here, you can see, I can see the comment specifically, for example, that the model went ahead and added to my own document. So this sentence is a bit wordy. Consider breaking it into 2 sentences for better readability. And so I can go ahead and, sorry, you can't see it. I'll try and zoom out a little bit so I can see it better. Oops. Well, I can go ahead and click the comments and then, so here it is. So I can say, consider rephrasing this comment, and I can go ahead and click apply. And what the model will do is go ahead and rewrite that specific sentence. So again, it's going to take that comment and then apply it to itself. I can also at the top click here, show changes, and I can see specifically, again, what the model just changed for me. So again, I saw that quickly, and so I wasn't really able to see it. So again, it changed this one long sentence into, this proposed launch this pilot program that generates AI. So the other things I can do with suggested edits is I can change the reading level of the document. So I can change it, for example, from current reading to high school to college, graduate, all the way down to middle school or kindergarten. Let's go ahead and make it a kindergarten now level of reading that might be appropriate. So again, I think we should small pilot. You can see again how it changes the immediate text. There's even a fun little feature of adding emojis. It usually goes a little overboard with emojis. Probably not the best feature for setting, but we'll see it live. So I can go ahead and add emojis, and it'll rewrite it here, adding way too many emojis for my liking. But again, so one of the ways you can start playing around again and use ChatGPT as an editor to help you write with you. So with that, I wanted to switch to a different demo, which is around how can we use ChatGPT for data analysis. And again, going on the theme of giving ChatGPT ability to use tools. And so specifically, I'm going to attach a file from my computer here. This is a data set that we use a lot to demo, which is just describe. So I'm uploading the CSV file, as the Wi-Fi works with me to upload that. But what this data set is a CSV file of every flight that left New York City in the month of January 2013. So it's just a data set of a bunch of flight information out of the 3 major airports in New York City. And so again, I'm just uploading that CSV directly into ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask it in natural language to describe what's in this data. And so the model, again, is going to show me here a little preview of the data. Again, apologize for it running a little slow. I think this is the hotel Wi-Fi. And what the model does, actually, and it actually already finished running, is let me actually scroll down. I'm going to show you something first, and I'll come back to this. this view analysis. What the model is actually doing, what we've enabled ChatGPT, is instead of just writing code, so ChatGPT is very good at writing code, specifically in this case Python, but we've also given it a development environment. So ChatGPT has its own IDE environment, and so not only can it write code, but it is executing the code. So in this case, it's writing Python to analyze that data set, and then it's actually executing that code to look at the file. So in this case, for those of you who know data science, it imported a very popular library called pandas, and then you can see it added comments, it's loading the CSV file, it's displaying the first few rows to itself, and then using this, it's pulling in the data set, and then in natural language is able to tell me what this shows. So this data set contains flights from New York City, 27,000 flights across 29 columns. Here's some of the specific information that it has: departure times, arrival times, carrier codes, etc. So I can ask it some follow-up questions. So right here, there's a prompted one. Show me the top 5 airlines. So again, just in that natural language question, you can see the model once again is analyzing, and is go ahead and it's going to run the analysis to say, in this data set, United Airlines had 46,037 flights, JetBlue had, etc. You can see it here. And once again, I can always go back to the analysis and see specifically how did it do it. And you can see the specific formula it did to just basically do a value count on those specific files. So to show off another capability of the model, I'm going to upload a dashboard that I've created. So let's see. Dashboard. So in this case, I'm uploading a dashboard. You can see my dashboard when I upload it here is actually not really a dashboard. It is a picture of a whiteboard. And so my dashboard is something we hand drew on a whiteboard of number of flights by origin, and number of flights by top 10 route. You can see this is not actual real data, just kind of illustrative. And what ChatGPT is going to use its vision capabilities to read that dashboard, describe it, and then use its analysis to actually go and run the code needed to create that dashboard. So again, so you can see its whiteboard has 3 sections: total number of flights, flights by origin, and now go ahead and create that dashboard. So you can see it here. It went ahead and created this dashboard with the 27,000 flights, flights by origin, and the top 10 flights by route. So again, using natural language, the model is able to now translate my natural language into code and then execute that code to be able to do data analysis. So again, as you think about kind of how can you actually do this, so there's all this AI hype, data analysis is one of the ways that I absolutely recommend starting to play with ChatGPT. The last demo I wanted to show is a little bit around our reasoning capability. So in this case, I'm going to show off a new model we have called O1. So once again, this is a preview model, so I have to switch to this specific model in ChatGPT. So if I click ChatGPT here, I have this O1 preview, uses advanced reasoning. And I'm going to give it a prompt, and it takes a little bit, so then I'm going to explain what we're doing here. So this prompt says, group these 16 words into 4 categories. So if anyone has played the New York Times Connections game, this is a game that you have to group 4 words into 4 categories. It's actually, the reason we use it, it's actually a game that large language models are historically very bad at. If you try it with models, they give you some ideas, but they normally go down a path and they get stuck and they can't correct themselves. And so with this O1 preview model, we've trained the model to do something different. So you can see I'm not getting an instant answer like I did on all my other ones. Instead, the model is doing this thinking, and it's actually giving me a summary here of what's happening. So I'm going to open this box up. So what we have trained our new model, or this new series of models to do, O1, is to think before they respond. So a lot of folks have tried this with, and some of you who are users of AI might have seen this chain of thought prompting, say think step by step before you answer it. You can think of this as on an extreme case, and we've actually using reinforcement learning, have trained the model to do this on its own. And so you see the model is still thinking, it still hasn't given me a response. And what we can start seeing is the chain of thought of this model. How is this model approaching this problem? How is it thinking about it? And so you can see things, it's starting to group words. So here are the 16 words, the 4 categories. Identifying themes. So one of them seems to be golf related. I see words like slice, hook, shank, whiff, okay? And then I'm seeing the words like slip, sneak, wade. These are about movements, piecing some clues together. So shank, shoes, loaf. Starting to organize, again, piecing words together. Starting to map connections, considering associations with meat, piecing these together. Again, so it's trying to identify the link, and it's really thinking
from
through
your
the problem.
perspective, when you see him go down last week, and then you know, everyone's concerned, obviously. But then you see him bounce back, and he's high-fiving, and he's saying he's good on the sideline. His mom's tweeting, he's good. You know, he's fine, don't worry. I'm thinking,
I don't think that was chat outputting, but
a week or two because he's such a precious commodity.
maybe we did something in the background there. So with our O1 series of model, our reasoning models, again, what you can see here is that the model actually, I'm going to scroll to the top, thought before it responded for 54 seconds. So the model actually did not respond for 54 seconds. It really was just thinking in the background. And then what it was able to tell me is here is the way that we group these 16 words into these 4 categories. So again, golf terms, words meaning approval, circular terms, footwear terms, etc. So this is actually the right kind of categorization of this problem. Again, this is one from a few weeks ago that GPT 4.0, our previous frontier model, was very bad at. This question would get it wrong 80% of the time. Occasionally it would kind of guess it right, but most of the time it would get it wrong. O1 gets it right every single time. And so the way to think through our preview models is this reasoning capabilities. What we've been able to do is teach a model to think before it responds, and really allows us to start scaling inference time compute, which we really think unlocks a whole new set of categories that we can do. I think we're short of time, but maybe just one last demo that I will do, and then I will wrap here, is maybe one specific around the White House memorandum again. So again, in this case, this is the full text of the AI executive order. On AI, you can see it is an extremely large document. Just scroll all the way to the bottom here. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to go ahead and copy all of this document. I'm going to come back to ChatGPT O1 preview. And I'm going to say, let me go ahead and mark it. I'm going to paste this all into here. This is a best practice, by the way, if you are copying documents into ChatGPT, is to use delimiters and a way to mark it. And so you can see I use triple quotations here to kind of show that this is a copy-paste. And what I want to do is come back to my prompt here, hold on, and say, below is the text of the White House executive order. Let's say, I'll assume I work for DOE. Can you give me a table of all the tasks I have to do? Give me references in the document as well. So in this case, I'm going to let this run for a bit because this will probably take about 60 seconds or so and wrap us up here. But what this model is doing is going to go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom here. It's going ahead and thinking through how can I read this entire document and really understand the nuances of what is tasked specifically to my agency. The amazing part, well, at least when I was doing this demo last night, and hopefully it'll show you as well, is there's a lot of references in the document to what all agencies have to do. It references what DOE specifically has to do. There's things related to DOE's internal use and other aspects of it. And so what the model is doing is really going through and reasoning and understanding all the different aspects of the model, thinking through those, and then coming back and going to summarize that for us in a table. So as this wraps up here, I will just kind of close with another just general advice and usage is obviously I work for OpenAI and ChatGPT and would suggest you all evaluate ChatGPT Enterprise. Regardless of whether you choose to use our service or a different one, the biggest thing I can recommend is go use AI. Become a user of AI, figure out how to do it in the right responsible way, appropriately with your organization's guardrails and guidelines. But these tools are freely available. They are available. You can get subscription versions for slight premium, or you can use the free version. But the number one thing I would say is it's important that we all use these tools. Jake Sullivan, after the release of the National Security Memorandum, gave a speech the other day at National Defense University about the importance of AI adoption in government and how the U.S. needs to maintain its leadership. And one of the things he specifically mentioned was the U.S. clearly has a lead right now on AI, but we risk losing that lead if we don't put the team on the field. And we have to put the best team on the field, and by that he meant using AI. The other quote I love to use is, unfortunately, we do not get fit by reading about working out. We have to go to the gym. And in the world of AI, using AI and being a user of these tools is going to the gym. So there's no substitute. Again, love that we're all here at a conference talking about this technology, but there's no substitute for being a user and trying it yourself. A lot of times I get questions, hey, could ChatGPT do this? And my usual response is, that's a pretty bad question to ask me. Did you try it? Put it in. Go try it and see what it does. And so my number one advice, again, is become a user, figure out how to use this tool. And so again, just to close here, so you can see the model thought for 73 seconds about my DOE question, and with that gave me this table, specifically about some of the specific things that DOE needs to do in that, 60-page document about AI. And so again, if we had a little more time, you can go back and validate all these sections. Actually, one quick last note, maybe last plug before I cede the stage, is I do get asked a lot, how do I know this is right? How do I check it? And the number one thing is you should absolutely check the AI's work, especially for things that require it. And I like to give the extreme examples of if I am a lawyer, getting a contract that I'm going to sign for a multi-million-dollar project, and I just throw it in ChatGPT and say, hey, is there a problem with this? And it gives me back an answer. I'm not going to blindly trust whether that's correct, especially not being an attorney myself. However, if someone asks me, hey, can you go translate our cafeteria menu into Spanish? I'll blindly throw it into ChatGPT, take the output, and trust the output fully. And so really it's taking a risk-based approach on what are the things that matter, and the things that do matter for your organization, you should absolutely have a human review. You do not get to cede responsibility because you used AI. If taking a math test, you don't get to tell your teacher, hey teacher, sorry I got the wrong answer, I used the calculator on this problem. You are still responsible for the input. So again, thinking about that and taking a risk-based approach is the way I would approach it. So with that, thank you all for the time. I'll be around for a little bit today. But with that, I'll turn it back to the team here.
Felipe, thank you so much. Appreciate you, thank you.